The idea is you're looking for an audience, you've done your research about the avatar, your ads are aimed at finding like the right angles and creative and stuff like that for every audience. So the first part of that is that every ad that works won't always work for the same audience. So that's the whole point of doing the kind of initial testing. And what I found time after time with CBO is the more you test before it goes into your kind of prospecting campaign, the more stable it is. And the faster you can get stability, the better the results become. There's a question from Jennifer, and she says, why do you split out into separate campaigns? Why not have interest and lookalikes the same just for stability? It is stability and also diversifying our risk. So if you have one CBO and you've got 5 interests and 5 lookalikes, that's 10 ad sets, you're relying on that one CBO to make a lot of decisions. And generally, depending on the budget size, I found you don't really want to go past maybe 4, maybe 6 ad sets per CBO campaign, because what I found beyond that is it gets stretched in its decision making. I think you need higher budgets and you can go higher in terms of number of ad sets. But at least from our testing, I found that separating those out gives you better stability and better risk management as well on performance. Creating rules for accounts, how do you go about tweaking them? How do you judge whether you're being too lenient or strict? So one thing I would say about rules and automation is don't use them until you are 100% confident doing it manually. I think it can be seen as a shortcut, and I see so many people then making mistakes because literally the rules will do exactly what you tell it to do, and sometimes what you think you're telling it to do is not what you need. So what I try and do is make sure that you are applying these actions daily. So whatever your kind of rules are that you're working towards, apply them daily, see the output of what you're doing, and then start to write them down and say, right, so if add to cart is this, I'm going to pause it, and it works like that, and it helps to bring my cost down. But I would write all those rules down on paper first, and then put it into automation to see if it's delivering you the same results. When I first create rules and automation, I'm manually seeing what those results are throughout the day, because every account differs. Some e-commerce stores, right from 8, 9, 10 in the morning, they've got good performance, and I know by 10 o'clock, if I've hit certain metrics, it's all good. Other stores don't kick in until afternoon, for example. I'm tracking that for at least a week. Then I'll be building the rules based on that. So that's kind of how I'd recommend setting up those rules for accounts. And then judging whether you're being too lenient or strict. So that's the first part. Once you've set the rules up, monitor it for a few weeks as well, and just make sure that the decisions were correct. So if you see an ad pause at a certain time based on what you told it to pause on, have a look at what happened later on in the day. So for example, you might often see that sales come in later on, and had you not paused it, maybe that ad would have performed really well. So it's just about kind of adjusting as you go along, and kind of seeing what performance comes back as well. Can you use dynamic content optimization for your testing? That's also something you can do for your short-term events-based testing as well. So you create a campaign, you create your ad set, you create a dynamic content optimization ad, and then you put your variants in there, and then put some budget behind it and let Facebook find your winners, and then just delete out anything that's not performing. So there is that option as well.